Welcome back to Voltage Bros, where we, two brothers, review some movies and then bolt. I'm Kenny.
And I'm Jerem. And today we will be talking about Here, the movie. And basically in the movie Here, there is one shot of a family's house, living room. And in this place, so many things happen. The asteroid hit there. The Congress people lived there. Benjamin Franklin lived across the street.
Right.
And then so many events happen in this room. People die. People get born. People get strokes. It's crazy.
Yeah, the movie's just all about that one spot from the beginning of time till now. But Jerem, what were your expectations going into this movie?
My expectations were that it would be trying to do something unique and beautiful, trying to show a good message of life, and that's what it tries to do.
Yeah, I agree with you. I had seen one trailer when we had went to go see a different movie. I forget which one, but it was in theaters. That's the only thing I saw. So I kind of knew a little bit about it, and it had my interest piqued. It definitely did that because I knew what it was attempting. Like you said, it was attempting to be unique with the one shot. With that in mind, how were those expectations? Were they met? Were they not met?
It kind of ended up being what I thought it would be. At first, the movie made me feel a little claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Like, we're just stuck here. We can't move. It feels a little bit strange just sitting here. Anything with Tom Hanks, though, you know that it's going to be a passion project.
Yeah.
It's going to be something that somebody wanted to make, and Tom Hanks is passionate about history, so it's going to involve some sort of history, which it did. At least you can tell that it's a passion project, that they wanted to make it and wanted to make it good. There were some things that fell flat for me, though.
No, I agree with you. Definitely a passion project, like you said. This passion project did grow on me as it went along, but like you said, some parts did fall flat, and so it didn't quite work out like I had hoped it would.
Yeah. Have you seen Benjamin Button?
No.
So in Benjamin Button, this character is born old, and then he grows down into a little kid, into a baby.
Gotcha.
And it's really strange because it's just watching somebody's life, but backwards.
Right.
But it's not like they changed any aspect of each portion of his life. So it was like watching a movie backwards.
Oh, okay.
Like, it didn't really show anything that, like, important.
It wasn't unique or he was growing down and that was it.
Yeah. So I was like, what is the theme of this movie? What is the purpose? What am I supposed to get out of this? And that's kind of how I felt watching this movie.
Yeah.
I was asking myself, what is the point? What are they trying to say?
Right.
Maybe I was thinking of it too much. But the thing is, stories tell stories of life in them.
Yeah.
Any story.
Yeah.
You know? Let's see, what do we got back here? We got Guardians of the Galaxy. In this story, people meet, they fight, they become friends, and they work through things together. That's a story of life.
Right.
So just telling a story of life, of being born to dying, like, doesn't really...
It's not really a story. It's just life.
Yeah.
It
doesn't pinpoint anything in life that you can apply to yourself. It's more like, yeah, that's life. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely an accurate thought process of this movie with every story in it, because nothing about their story is really unique to any of them, right? I mean, I guess like one guy invented the lazy boy, which is kind of unique, I guess, but
he didn't have anything to do with the rest of the story.
Right. He was just a success story.
Yeah.
The other family, the main family, just kind of lived through life and normal hardships and marriage troubles that happen, right? But there was nothing unique about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of the lines, the script felt that way as well. It was like, what would people say in general? The most generalized way of saying this.
Right. How can we reach the biggest audience instead of just a niche, passionate section?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So some of the lines were so cheesy.
Right.
And they just went on to the next scene, to the next scene, to the next scene, just to fill in those points of this is generally what happens in life. Ended up being really flat.
Yeah, I agree. I think one aspect that I wanted to bring up as well is that it did too much with the stories. like it fell flat because there was too many.
Yeah.
I understand the overarching theme of beginning of time to not beginning of time. I guess beginning of humans. No, dinosaurs.
What
you
if
know,
they started with a
until
particle?
present.
Ooh, that'd be
Yeah,
good.
an atom.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it starts with dinosaurs, right? Until present time, I would assume, somewhat. And then they just add in every single story. I would have preferred if they had just focused on the one family, the one time, in that one room.
Yeah.
That is fine that you stick to the one room. I am perfect. Like, that's great. That's unique. It's like the movie 12 Angry Men, right? They just stay in the one room, right? And it's
fantastic.
It's a fantastic movie, right? It's awesome. I wish they had done that, kept that part, but had just stuck with the main family and focused more on them and providing more context to them and made us more invested in them, because every other story just kind of felt pointless, right? There was the one success story, there was the one where the husband died and that's it, and there was the one in present time where they just kind of moved in, COVID happened, and then they moved out.
Yeah.
And you weren't invested in any of them. Those are the only ones I can remember. I'm sure there was probably more.
Yeah, and I think they jumped too much into the future of what happened after the family left.
Yeah, that too.
Because think of Toy Story, another Tom Hanks movie. Kind of at the end of Toy Story 3, you see Woody move on to the next kid.
Right.
And then Toy Story 4 has a story with the next kid. But Toy Story 3 has that beautiful ending of what's going to happen now with this. It's a new stage.
Right.
La la la. We don't really know
Yeah.
what's next, but it makes us feel good that it's a new stage.
Right.
Knowing too much about the future of this house, like it didn't give you a nostalgic feeling.
Right. Yeah. Can you imagine the bittersweet ending if it had just ended? Because the whole point was, wow, look at all this history. What will happen, right? Instead it was, look at all this history. Also, look, we finished.
Yeah.
Nothing else is happening.
And it was kind of fun going back through the nostalgic events of history, but other movies do that better.
Right.
And plus it bothered me that they brought up COVID, but
Yeah.
didn't bring up anything about it except that there was a disease.
Yeah.
And at least they brought it up because nobody wants to talk about COVID and what happened. But if you're going to bring it up, you have to bring up the fact that there was a battle in the world between two sides about the dilemma of COVID, not
Right.
just that there was a disease. Because I
Right.
think people's stress more came from the fighting and angry words
Right.
more than the actual disease.
Right.
So they left out a big piece.
No, I agree 100%.
There was one character I really liked, and it was Al. I really liked him because he screamed, and he was the dad.
Oh, yeah.
Tom
yeah.
Hanks' dad,
Yeah.
Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
He did a really good job.
He did a good job.
I liked him because you could tell what character he was.
Right.
And he had an actual character with actual change
Right.
throughout the movie.
Yeah.
The rest of them were just flat characters who fit the role, and they all wished they had done something.
Yeah.
But he was happy with who he was, even though he was making decisions that may have hurt people.
Right.
And then he had some change throughout the movie. The rest of them just wished they had change.
Right. No, that's very true. I think out of all the characters, he's the one that I actually cared about. And he had those moments of decision through time. You could see each moment very clearly where he made a decision, whether it hurt someone or whether he bettered himself. And that's more of what I wanted to see in this movie.
He was the main character,
Yes.
more than Tom Hanks.
Yeah, that's true.
Tom Hanks was really just a placeholder.
Yeah.
The jumping through time was cool, but not an integral part of the story.
Right.
It was a fun project, but it didn't leave an impact, and
Yeah.
it won't leave an impact. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
I was, before we went into the movies, we were the only ones in the theater, by the way.
Oh, nice.
It was
We had
9:15.
one other guy in there.
It was 9:15 on a Monday night. I understand. But when we were getting our popcorn, the guy asked us which movie, and we said Here. And he was like, oh my gosh, I love that movie. It doesn't deserve the hate it's getting. It's a masterpiece. He said it had a twist ending. I still don't know what he meant by that. If you see this, man, I'm sorry. I don't know what you mean by twist ending. And it was not a masterpiece. And well, I don't think it deserves hate. It wasn't amazing. It was not a masterpiece. But I did enjoy it. It was unique.
Yeah.
I appreciated its attempt to bring something new to the screen, And I hope more people attempt a project like this, because I appreciate this kind of going after something new, something unique, instead of same old rinse and repeat, right? So I did enjoy it. I would recommend seeing it simply because of that, and it's a good movie to see like with your spouse or with family. But you know, it's not a masterpiece, and you won't remember it after a week.
Well, Kenny.
Well, Jerome,
I enjoyed watching here and talking about it with you. I think people should see it as well. It's kind of like Venom. There's going to be people who like it. You might be one of them, even if we didn't. So
let's bolt.